glass box thudded onto the hardwood floor, echoing a little too loudly in the empty space. Finally, apartment 4B was officially mine. It was a pre-war building, oozing with the kind of character you just don't find anymore. High ceilings, intricate moldings, and these incredible ornate mirrors. Huge, heavy things built right into the walls of the hallway and the bedroom. They were one of the reasons I fell in love with the place. They made the apartment feel grand, almost palatial. I did a little celebratory spin in the hallway, laughing as my reflection spun with me. But as I stopped, something felt off. In the mirror, my reflection seemed to stumble a half-second after I did. I blinked, shaking my head. Must be the exhaustion. Moving day does weird things to your brain. The next few days were a blur of unpacking and arranging furniture. I'd catch my reflection out of the corner of my eye, a flicker of movement that didn't quite match my own. I'd be walking down the hall and glance over, and for a split second, the me in the mirror would still be a step behind. It was subtle, so subtle I kept convincing myself I was imagining it. Just tired eyes, I'd mutter, or a trick of the light from the old, wavy glass. It was easier than confronting the cold knot of dread tightening in my stomach. But then came the night it became impossible to ignore. I was getting ready for bed, brushing my teeth in the bathroom. This one had a plain mirror, and everything was normal. But as I walked into the bedroom, I froze. I was standing perfectly still in the doorway, but my reflection in the giant, wall-mounted mirror was still moving. It slowly raised a hand, tracing the line of its jaw, its eyes, my eyes, fixed on me with an expression I couldn't quite decipher. It wasn't menacing, not exactly. It was curious, analytical, like a scientist observing a specimen. My heart hammered against my ribs. I slammed the door shut, my back pressed against the wood, listening to the frantic sound of my own breathing. Sleep became a stranger. I started avoiding the mirrors. I'd walk with my eyes fixed on the floor, dress in the dim light of the closet, and use only the small bathroom mirror, which remained stubbornly normal. The apartment, once my dream home, now felt like a prison. The silence was the worst part. It felt heavy, expectant. I knew she was there, on the other side of the glass, watching, waiting. I started talking to myself, filling the quiet. It's just an old building, I'd say aloud. Old buildings have quirks. But my voice sounded thin and unconvincing, even to my own ears. One afternoon, I was making tea in the kitchen, which thankfully had no mirrors. My favorite mug slipped from my soapy hands and shattered on the floor. Frustrated tears welled in my eyes. As I knelt to pick up the pieces, I glanced down the hallway, and I saw her. My reflection was standing there, in the middle of the hall mirror, even though I was all the way in the kitchen, completely out of its line of sight. She was just standing there, staring down the hall towards me. The calm, detached curiosity was gone from her face. Now she just looked sad. A profound, heartbreaking sadness that seemed to echo a feeling deep inside me I didn't know I had. That was the breaking point. This thing, this copy of me, wasn't just a glitch in the glass. It was separate. It had its own agency. And I couldn't live with it anymore. My fear curdled into a hot, determined rage. I wasn't going to be driven out of my own home by a ghost in the glass. I found a hammer in my toolbox these cursed mirrors. I started in the hallway. I raised the hammer, my own frantic, wild-eyed reflection staring back at me. "Get out," I screamed, and brought the hammer down with all my strength. But instead of the satisfying crash of shattering glass, there was a dull, sickening thud. The hammer bounced back as if I'd hit solid steel. Not a crack, not a single scratch. I hit it again and again, screaming in frustration, the impacts jarring my arm to the shoulder. Nothing. It wouldn't break. Panting, I stumbled back, the hammer slipping from my sweaty grasp. In the mirror, my reflection hadn't flinched. She hadn't even mimicked my screaming. She just stood there, watching me with that same deep sadness. Then slowly she raised her hand and pressed her palm flat against the glass. Or what I thought was the glass. Her fingers seemed to press into the surface, the mirror rippling around them like water. My blood ran cold. Instinctively, I mirrored her movement. I reached out and pressed my own hand against the cold surface of the mirror. But my hand didn't sink in. It met a hard, unyielding barrier. I pushed, my fingers splayed against the smooth, cool surface. It felt like glass. I looked at my reflection, her hand seemingly inside my world, and then down at my own hand, firmly on the outside. A horrifying realization began to dawn, a truth so impossible, my mind buckled against it. My reflection, that sad, silent woman on the other side, slowly shook her head. A single tear traced a path down her cheek. She did something that shattered my world more completely than any hammer ever could. She turned and she walked away. Away from the mirror, deeper into the apartment behind her, my apartment. I watched her go, my hand still pressed against the unyielding surface, until she disappeared into the kitchen. I was left standing here, in this cold, empty, silent space, this narrow, featureless corridor behind the glass. I pounded my fists against the barrier until they were bruised and bloody, my screams echoing in the suffocating stillness. No one can hear me. She's out there, living my life. She's unpacking my boxes, sleeping in my bed, drinking from my favorite mug, and I'm in here. I wasn't looking at a reflection trapped in a mirror. All this time, the reflection was looking out. Thanks for watching. If this story sent a chill down your spine, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the dark. Let me know in the comments what you would do if you found yourself in this situation. Stay safe and always be careful what you see in the mirror.